Thank you for joining us for today's webinar. Today's topic is Microsoft 365 ecosystem. This is the sixth session. This is a part of an ongoing series we'll be doing every other week moving forward. We are glad to have you here with us today. At this time, I would like to introduce you to today's instructor, Michael Nelson, the president and founder of TLC Tech, a Sacramento-based IT company dedicated to helping businesses grow and thrive through Microsoft integrations, managed IT services, and cybersecurity solutions. Now I'll turn it over to Michael, who will share with you our agenda in the Microsoft 365 ecosystem.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to today's webinar. Jack, you can see the sign-in account? I've got my screen sharing correctly?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so welcome everybody. I'm actually really excited about today. We've been talking over the past 6 weeks or the past 6 episodes about different parts of Office 365, but this is where you get to see how everything comes together. I kind of call it the crossovers. It's to me, it's been one of the coolest things I think about Office 365 for me is how everything just crosses over and keeps everything, how you can just connect Teams and SharePoint and OneDrive and different applications. And we're going to see more of it going on. But so far what we've done with the team, SharePoint and OneDrive, I figured this was the opportune time to showcase it to everybody. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and log in. Again, I go to portal.microsoft.com. That's where I log in. It remembers me that I've already logged in with this email address. You'll notice it's just going to take me straight in. I'm on my home machine, so I told it to go ahead and remember me. That'll remember for up to 30 days. Actually, it took me into the admin center, which it shouldn't have done that. So it takes me into the main Office 365 page. So this is where everything starts. This is where everything hangs out. This is what we call the Office 365 splash page or the main page. And you can get to everything from here. So here's all of the applications that you can use. And a reminder about apps versus applications. So you'll notice I have my Microsoft Word application down here that launches it as my normal Word application. That's installed on my desktop machine. But I can go here to Word, and this is the online app. So the same thing, I can do a new document, it'll bring up, but you notice I'm in the Word app versus the application. Just a reminder, apps are web-based, applications are installed on your desktop. So this is where you can get access to all of your, now you see I'm in Word now. Just to get back to the main 365, I just go to what we call the waffle, click on the Office 365. That takes me to my main splash screen. So all of these are the web-based apps. Now, there's a lot more in here than just these. These are my most commonly used apps online. If I want to see every single app, I go to the app launcher, I click on all apps, and this is every single thing that's available to me. Now, we also have links into other accounts. These are not necessarily Microsoft accounts. We have one, we actually have another one linked to one of our line of business applications that we can put in this main menu. So that's another thing that can happen if you've got an online web application, we can help put it into this list. The other thing, if they do work with single sign-on with Microsoft, we can actually set it up that once your people have been authenticated, they can actually launch the online website and be able to automatically be logged in. We do that with one of our line of business applications, and it just saves having to do password entries on lots of different places. So that's another option that's available. Again, that's specifically if that line of business works with Microsoft single sign-on. So again, your main favorites are going to be here for the apps. Get to all of your applications here. This is, again, the favorites. All apps gives you everything this way. Probably also notice that I have documents here. This will give me my most recent documents. I can do new documents this way as well. Again, reminder, if you've got questions, please type them in as we go, because I'm going to be throwing a lot of information at you here. So do a question anytime you feel like it. Feel free to just type it in and I'll grab to it. So once we're in here, you'll see that I have the applications or the apps here that I have recommended pages. So this is the outline. This was the last thing that I was working on. This is our outline for today. I'll just bring that up. So we're going to go over the main page. We're going to talk about the profile. We're going to go through the ecosystem, how it all ties together. Then I'm going to do some of the actual functions. We're going to talk about how Office applications, the installed applications on your desktop, are tied into the system. And then we're going to explore a system called Delve, which actually has some, we debated whether or not to show that to you guys, because sometimes it can be a little, you'll see when I get in there. But there's some really cool things that we found in there to share with you as well. So back to the main page. So here are the recommended. You can see Jack worked on that. These are ones that Jack worked on. This was one I worked on yesterday. This is just going to give me what it thinks are most relevant to me. This is one that Lisa worked on and shared with me. So basically, this can be your documents or other documents that people have shared with you inside of your organization. And then you'll go down here, you'll see recent documents. Again, I can show more here. That'll bring up more this way. These are all the documents I've recently worked on. That's whether they're on the Microsoft Word application that's installed on my laptop, on this desktop, whether it were on my laptop or even if it were on my phone, or if I used it online here. It will all show up under my recent applications. Recent documents. You'll notice that it's everything Microsoft related. So Word docs, PowerPoint, Excel. Also, I can have my pinned documents. So these are documents that I want to follow me everywhere. And let me show you one of the things, and this is kind of how it crosses over. I'm going to bring my Word application that's installed. I'm going to go to File, Open, and I'm going to go to, you can see my pinned documents right here. So it shows me the first four. I've got the books here, the book, tech sandbath ideas. I mistyped that one. And then because this is Word, it also is the, let me see, Sales Master. So you notice that automatically, this is one of the crossovers that I'm talking about. So I may have web-based pinned something. So right here, if I go to this one, let's say this intro script, I'm going to go ahead and pin it here. That will automatically show up. You can tell that it's pinned. Go over to here. It shows up on my intro script. It'll take a few minutes, but then that will eventually show up over here as well. If I go into the next time this Word application checks in with Office 365, it'll pull over the most recently pinned document. So that's one of the ways that it crosses over that I think is really, really powerful. Let me see, continuing on our main page. So again, then I've got shared with me. These are all the documents that have been shared with me by other people in my organization. You can see when they shared it, you can see who shared it, and the last time that it was edited as well. I can show less here. I can also go in, do more in OneDrive. This clicks me over all the different places. Again, here's my OneDrive folders. Here's the most frequent SharePoint sites that I go to. The final thing is Discover. This is tied a little bit to Delve. This is what it thinks you would be interested in. Now, I have a backup report that I look at on a daily basis. As most of you all know, I'm an absolute freak. We're freaks about backups here. So I have a report sent to me on a daily basis. So because of the amount of times that I interact with this, that's showing up on my Discover. So that's what we have on the main splash screen of Office 365. Any questions on that one so far?
Nothing yet.
Alrighty, I'm going to go ahead and move on to my profile. So right here in the top right-hand corner, I have my profile. I can go to my Office profile. This is where you can put in, it's going to make me authenticate. So this takes me into where I can now get into. Now, this takes me into Delve, and we're not going to jump in there too much in the beginning, but right here, this is my profile. I can update my profile. I can put in my home phone, mobile number if I had a fax, about me, projects. This is really used in larger organizations. If you've got people that might be, I'm particularly good with this line of business or something like that. You can add a skill, you can add a topic expertise that way. Interest. So again, these are kind of things that would be in a larger organization, but you can add all of your contact information so that anybody in your organization that needs to get a hold of you, this is especially true now, making sure that you have your mobile number or that you have the extension put into here so that it's easy for anybody to find you. I can find Jack and I can get his contact information this way. If I go in and view his profile, I could grab his contact information that way as well. So that's on the profile. Let me go back to here. Now I can also go into my account. Now this is my Office 365 account. This is where I can change my password. This is where I can do all sorts of settings. I can also see every device that I've connected to. That shows me all of the devices. So this is my desktop machine. We actually just joined it to the Office 365 domain instead of the domain at my office. And so that's why there's two of those. You can see my iPhone. This is actually an old machine that's now inactive, and that's an old laptop that's inactive as well. This is so that one actually is a Windows virtual desktop up in Azure that we've been showing off to some of you all. And that's the virtual machine up there. So you can also, I could go in here and I could remove the privileges, so I could disable the device so that it could no longer access into my Office 365. So if you have an employee that you were terminating, this is how they get. This is how we take away, not on this side, but on the back end side, these are related. That's how we stop the privileges from being able to go in there. Back to the overview. So security, most of you would not do that, but this is where you can do the password reset. This is also tied to the two-factor authentication. This is privacy settings. This is the organizations. This is something that is just showed up. This page, actually, I was kind of surprised when I was building this presentation about 4 days ago. This was a different page. This is one of the things that you have to keep in mind is Microsoft is constantly updating this ecosystem. So I went in and it's like, oh, wow, okay, I want to see this. And this got very, very, very interesting. So this is the sign-in. So today, this is the one I just did. So this tells me Sacramento, what operating system, what browser I was using, what IP address I came in from. So that's all kind of boring. Where does it get interesting, you ask? And this is, if we scroll down, again, web client, Teams, you can see all the sign-ins that I've done here. So every web-based thing gets logged onto the system. And as I keep scrolling down, it's going to keep adding more of my logins. This is where it gets interesting. So there was a login from Iran. It was unsuccessful. From Thailand, from Pakistan. Looks like I'm not sure where that is. Vietnam, Buenos Aires. So you see all of these people that we're trying to attack. So somewhere my email address likely showed up on some dark web thing. And so the first thing that they're going to do is they're going to try to log in web-based because it's easy to be able to get logged in. Now, the bad actors, it's not that there were all these 25, 30 different people trying to log in. What likely happened is that they've got a set of botnet machines that are all over the world, and so they ran an attack that way, trying to limit it. Now, we've got several layers of security in here. We've turned on protection that says you can only log into our tenancy from the United States or from Canada. Now, when I go traveling, I have to have Hector open up the countries that I'm traveling in so that I'll be able to log in remotely. The other is that we have set up is two-factor authentication. Now, I know they didn't have my password because they were not able to hit the two-factor authentication. If my password had been compromised, they would have actually have been able, I would have gotten a two-factor authentication notice on my phone that, do you approve this login? At that point, I would have known that my password had been compromised. At this point, we know that my email address showed up somewhere on the dark web, and they were just throwing a bunch of passwords at it. It didn't even get to the point of going past the password screen, so it didn't even hit my two-factor authentication. And again, the country would have also been blocked. So there's a lot of ways that we can add security into this. But it was the first time. Normally, this has only been available to us as your Office 365 administrator. There's never been a end user view. So this may or may not show up on your side. If you go into your overview, you may actually have the older screen. Yours may not look like this. Oftentimes they'll let me go back to the old view, but this one they're not actually letting me do it, so I can't show you that one. But there would be less available, and you may not see the sign-ins. Basically, the way that they do updates is they'll roll it out, and then it keeps rolling out to all the different tenancies. These kind of things can take 2 to 4 weeks before they're rolled out across everybody in the Microsoft ecosystem. So that's the My Account overview. Again, passwords that you would be interested in, passwords, devices that are connected. These are the Office, that's a good one. Office apps is that you can manage your Office apps, and this way you can download. This is where you can install Office. So most of you on the call have an Office 365 license that includes the Office suite, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Publisher, to be able to be downloaded and installed on up to 5 devices. This is where you would do it from. So if you're on your home machine, you can download it and install it there. Again, it will ask for a password about every 30 days. That's how it validates and validates that your license is still good, because it's on a monthly subscription fee. So that's what I have on the My Account. Any questions there so far?
Nope.
Okay, so I'm going to go back to the splash screen. And one of the best ways that I can show you how this ecosystem all ties together is using the search. So I'm going to close a couple of these up. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to launch OneDrive. I can right mouse click on this. I'm going to say open in a new tab. I'm just going to open up most of these right now. Let me see, Delve, I don't need, that should probably be, I'll open that one up as well, my tasks. Okay, so I've got my OneDrive files. I've also got the root of my SharePoint. I'll go ahead and go into, actually no, I'll stay on this top page. I've got my Microsoft Teams, and then I've got to validate to get into the to-dos. Okay, you may be noticing that I'm actually using my live account, which I don't often do in these kind of webinars, but because of the depth that we're going to in the crossover, it's going to be easier to show you all of this. So let me start with, I'm going to do a search here. I'm going to search for vacation as a keyword. Okay, so in here, there's the SOP for how we request vacation time, our PTO calendar, that was the draft. You can see who modified it, when it was modified last, Word, it'll also do the PDFs. So you can see everything in here. So this is 5 pages worth. So there's, what's that, probably 60 or 80 different pieces. Now I'm going to go into my OneDrive and I'm going to search for vacation. Now, this will actually search all over the place as well. So it'll search everybody, but you notice now it's doing it all in one search. So again, on one page. OneDrive is kind of the engine that synchronizes everything for SharePoint, for Teams. All of the data files use the OneDrive engine to synchronize. So that'll show up there. But when I go into SharePoint, if I go into our main site and I do a search inside of here, that is only going to give me things that are inside of these SharePoint sites that I'm actually in right now. So you notice I only have 2 pages of results versus the 5 pages of results that I had here. This is because when you search from the main Office 365 ecosystem, it is from the main page. It is going to search every single thing that you have access to in the Office 365 ecosystem. And that's one of the really, really powerful pieces, I believe. Same thing, OneDrive, you can see here that it's searching my files. I can also say search the recent documents that are shared with me or search down into the specific SharePoint libraries. Now, when I go into a specific SharePoint site, it is only going to be searching that site alone. If I go into here, I can do a search for vacation inside of Teams as well, but you'll notice it's the vacation anywhere in a chat window that I had the word vacation. So when we were talking about vacations, that's in the chat window. So again, it shows up only on, so inside of SharePoint and Teams, it's going to search only inside of those particular libraries. If you search from this main page, it is going to search across the entirety of the ecosystem. Let me see. You've seen how, let me see, the other thing I can do is in here, once I go to SharePoint, I may have multiple sites that I want to have open, for example. So right here, I'm going to have my main TLC cloud, then I'll do the sales and marketing. If I search in here, I should likely not come up with anything. Oh, there was, okay, yeah, because the outline we're working on today, because I had typed in there use vacation as the search. So you notice that that only searched this particular library, whereas if I do it from the main page, that would show up in the search as well, because it's searching everything, my OneDrive, every SharePoint that I have access to, every document that's been shared with me. So that's one of the best ways that you can see how everything kind of crosses over. As we go on in the next couple of months we're going to do webinars on Stream, Planner, Delve. You'll see how we can tie those things together. I'll just give you one quick, Planner is a really cool thing where it's for making plans, but we use it inside of our leadership team for a lot of you, I think you know that we do L10. We have our L10 meetings and we have our we use Planner to do it inside of here. Now, that's its own plan, but it's tied into the Teams channel on my leadership team. Sounds like a question?
Yeah, from Steve. He's asking if you're being paid by Microsoft to show us all this.
So, Steve, I've known you a long time. I think the expression that I use is, yeah, I sold my soul to that devil a long time ago. Basically, we are, yeah, we're a Microsoft shop. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. But once I fully moved into Office 365, it changed my world. It changed how I work, which is one of the cool things. I've got to say, those partners of ours that had already moved over to Office 365 and were using SharePoint, OneDrive, and Teams had the easiest transition when the shelter in place hit because they're already used to working web-based. I can go anywhere, any device, anything. No, they are not paying me for this, but yes, I am very much a Microsoft fan. Now, truth be told, 2.5 years ago, when OneDrive first came out, I tried every which way to get it to work. It was absolutely, utterly horrific. It never should have been released. They were really competing at that point against Dropbox, and they wanted to come to market with a product. It was absolutely awful. There's no way we could have presented that. I tried to use it every different way. It was just clunky. It wasn't integrated well. So we waited until they really got it down, and they've really dialed it down. The thing is that, and the man that's most responsible for that is their CEO, Satya. He basically said, every single product will be web-based. If we sell it in a box, we sell it web-based, and it all has to tie together. And they keep tying more and more pieces together, and that's kind of the fun. Like I showed you when I went to the my account, being able to see the security login issues. They just keep bringing more and more things into the ecosystem to the consumer. So yes, there you go, Steve. But yes, you are right. I do really love this. Okay, so we've talked about having multiple sites open. When I get in, basically what I do is I still use Outlook, the application, a little bit, but I also just pull it up here. For any of you, we had a partner this morning that had an emergency at 6 o'clock. Their Outlook wouldn't launch, and it's like, hey, just go web-based until our tech gets you. Which, at 6:30, 6 o'clock this morning, it wasn't too long. But there's always a way to go web-based, so I can go in web-based and get to the documents that I need to there. So, and anything I do there again crosses over. So now I'm going to talk about how the Office applications tie in together, and let me do a quick change here. Okay, so I'm going to bring up my Word. So this is Microsoft Word. I can go into my account, and you'll notice that this is a subscribed product, and I am logged in as M. Nelson at tlctech.com. That's the main one that I use. Once I log in, it automatically adds the connected services of OneDrive, so my OneDrive and my SharePoint sites. What makes that so powerful is that when I go to do a new document and I save it, you notice right here a reminder the autosave is turned off, but the minute that I save it, and you notice it's asking me, it's going to default to my OneDrive, but I can say, give me more saving options, and then this will give me the sites that I can save to. So today we're working out of the sales and marketing, the webinar series. This is the outline that I created for this series. I'm going to do a test save. Now again, that is saving it directly into my Office 365. What's really powerful about this is that if you were at let's say you were at you wouldn't be now, but let's say you were at a business hotel and you were using one of the business machines, you can log into the 365 ecosystem. Again, I would not do this if you were on a public machine unless you have two-factor authentication turned on. Just logging into your Office 365 on a public machine without two-factor authentication is not a good idea. But from here, I can do my Word, a blank document. So I could be on, let's say I was over at my folks' house and I needed to, for some reason, create a document. I can do test doc 2 or 3, give this a name, and then again, decide the location of where I'm going to save it to. Let me see, we'll go into here. Okay, so I saved it into my Michael Nelson files. Back to the Word is you're going to notice now autosave was turned on. This can be set as a global default, is that anytime you save a Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Publisher, any Word application on the desktop that's tied in, and you save it into your OneDrive, SharePoint, Teams, any of the Microsoft 365 ecosystem locations, it will turn on autosave by default. That also starts turning on the version control, which is very helpful. If somebody makes a mistake, if I close this, reopen it, that's going to create a new version. So this is another way that this all ties together. What you cannot see is on my phone, I can also do the same thing with the phone. When I go into the phone and I launch Word on my phone, I will see the most recent documents that I worked on. I will also see the pinned documents. So I'm looking right now, and on my phone, I see under the pinned documents is the intro script for the webinar, which means that it should also be here. Yeah, there's so you notice, remember, I pinned that web-based over here when we were in the ecosystem. let's see, on the Office 365, I went ahead and pinned it here so that it showed up here. But again, now it's automatically shown up on my pinning here. So any place that I open up, so if you're on your home machine, you did this on a work machine, you have Word installed on your home machine tied to this license, you would also have your pinned documents there as well as the recent documents and everything you have access to there. So that's what I have on crossing over. And if for some reason you don't have your accounts connected, all you have to do is say add a service, storage, log into OneDrive for Business. That'll tie everything together. So if you don't have a SharePoint site yet, that won't show up for you. But once you log in, most of the time, just by logging in with the user account will automatically tie in your OneDrive and your SharePoint sites. But if not, you can just say add a service. That'll take care of that. Any questions before I move on to Delve? And this is going to be a shorter meeting today, so make sure that you write down any questions because I want you to play Stump the Geek with me later and ask where things might be found. Any questions, Jack? All righty. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and move into then. I'm going to go into Microsoft Delve. And this is an interesting one. Delve has always been kind of, it wasn't that cool, but I found a few things on it recently that made me go, yeah, I want to show this to them. So inside of Delve, I'm going to go to Me. First thing it did was it brought up popular documents. But if you go to Me and my organization, the people that report to me, so I can see what they're working on. So Brett, who is our account manager, I can click on him and I can see the recent documents he's been working on. All of you know Brett is our account manager, does our TBR, so you can see these are ones that I have access to or that have been shared with me. Now, if Brett's working on a document that's in his OneDrive or in a SharePoint site that I don't have access to, I would not be able to see that because I have to have the permissions to be able to get to that to begin with. So one of the things you'll see on here, so this is what I call, let me go back to Me, and you'll see, so here's the documents that I've been working on. So this was the script. These were the two that I created, the three that I created online. How many times they've been viewed. I can also get additional information. Who can see this? So I can go into here. It takes me directly into the folder, and I can click on this, get my info here. And again, this tells me who has access. Nobody has access to that document. Let me see. Also on the card, it tells me where it is. So this is in my OneDrive. That's in my sales and marketing SharePoint site. OneDrive, Jack created the intro script. That's on Jack's OneDrive, but it's been shared with me, which is why I can see it. So these cards, when you go on home, you can have all these different cards. One of the things that you might notice is, so right down here, I could make this a favorite. So again, this is slightly different from pinning, but I can make these favorites. Those will always show up. The other thing that I can do that's kind of interesting, and I just discovered this, was called boards. You can tie documents to a board. So let me just grab something here. So I'll do a TBR. And I will tie it to, all I have to do is start typing and it'll bring up whatever is available. I'm going to tie that to the TBR board, say okay. Now, when I go to TBR, it will show me every document that's tied to this board. And you may ask, why would I want to do that? If you've got an ad hoc group of people that are working on a particular topic, you could create a board for that, tie all of it together to that board, and then you would send that. You could send a link. So that way they could all come in and have access. These could be documents in disparate places that they have access to. You can also do that inside of Teams. It's just another way that this kind of crosses over across the ecosystem. You will also be able to see when you go in to see the documents, see the little lock. That means that is only available to me. If I go into the home screen, again, who it is, by virtue of the fact that it's access to me. I can see everything that I have access to. I can also see, for example, I emailed this to somebody over. I emailed that yesterday. It tells me yesterday who. Now, if you notice two things, I have the link that'll take me directly into the document, but I can also click on, let me find one that I won't be, again, live data, you always got to be a little careful about what you click on here. But I could click on, these are documents that I have access to. I'll click when I show you another spot. I'll show you that one. Let me go into me, and I'm going to go down. These are documents from people around me. This is what they're working on, but this is for me. So these are my recent documents. Again, I go to me, and then I click your recent documents in an email attachment, see all. So again, these are items that I have modified or that I have received or I have sent with an email attachment. So let me go into, I emailed, so exercises. I emailed that yesterday. If I click on that, that's going to open up the document, but I can actually click on the link itself, and that's going to open me up to that email directly that I sent with the attachment. And this is where I think one of the powerful things comes in. How many of you know that somebody sent you something with an attachment and you can't find that email for anything? You've looked and looked. This is where you can go. You come in again to the Office 365 ecosystem, go into Delve. That will launch you here to the home page. You click on your name, see all your documents. This is one of the coolest features I found in here is attachments only. This is going to give me every single thing that I have sent or received as an attachment in my email. So here's a voicemail that came from Dell. That still shows up because that came in as an attachment into my email. Questions on this one?
Nothing yet.
Okay. So again, I can find documents only. Again, my private ones, I can see what's been available to other people. That's showing my name here because that tells me this is private only to me. This tells me that this document is accessible to other people. Again, if your image is showing up on this, that means other people have access to that document. Typically, that's going to be because you saved it in a SharePoint or a team site that other people have access to. But you can do your documents only, your attachments only, or documents and attachments. Okay, going on, and I've talked about clicking on the, if we go into the the attachments, clicking on this will get you the email, clicking on that will get you the document itself. Same as if you click on the document here, you can open that as well. So I'm going to go another one. So if you know somebody sent you something, but you can't quite remember how and where, you can find them in here, click on their name, and I can see documents that Jack shared with me that I have access to. So this is another way that I can see and where it is. So this is my OneDrive. That's on Jack's OneDrive. If we go to see all here, then I can get in weekly metrics. Again, most of these are OneDrive. This is on our sales and marketing SharePoint site. So this tells me where it's located, gives me more information that way. I can also see how many views. If you're looks familiar, this to me is a little reminiscent of like Google, how many times the page has been viewed. But this also shows you these kind of things are also where it shows up on your recent documents that it's suggesting. That's part of the logic that it uses, is how many times has it been viewed, recent, keywords, all sorts of things like that. So this is where I would be able to find Jack's documents. The other things that I can do is I can say, show me only Word documents. So I can clear down, change my view, give me only attachments. So he hasn't attached anything in Word, but if I say show everything, Okay, so yes, and actually, we do, as most of you know, we do almost everything inside of Teams, so we don't really send attachments inside of email documents, but these are ones that he has shared with me, most likely through a Teams chat or through sharing it directly through his OneDrive. Okay. That is what, go ahead.
We do have a question from Nancy. Why can you only see a handful of people in your list of people and not everyone that has emailed you an attachment?
That's just simply because the sheer volume. I can search anybody out of here. So let's say I wanted to search people. So this is going to be people in my organization. So Matthew Long. Now he will start showing up on my people list. So this is kind of like on here. It shows the last recent items. Same thing here is this is the recent people that you interacted with. If you want them to go away, you can just simply X them out. And then that takes them off that list. And you notice that Dan showed up. If I take, okay. So if I take, let me see those two, I would have to take others out. And these are the people I interact with the most often, which is why they're on the top of the list. Okay, that answered Nancy's question. So that's what I had mainly. I wanted to show you a quick thing on Teams. So let me go back to the main screen. Open this in a new tab. One of the things, actually I'm going to do this desktop based. That's an easier way to show you. Just because there was a new thing that showed up was, okay, pop out. So I think we've been talking a lot about the fact that things are going to pop out. If you notice right here, see this little pop out chat? So one of the things, how many times have you been on a call with somebody, a meeting, but you wanted to be able to chat on the side? That's how you can now do it. You can pop out a separate window. So I could be in another meeting, but I could still be doing a chat back and forth with Jack. That will work on anybody that's inside of the Teams app that you have chats with. It's not out yet, but there is going to be the ability when you're in a Teams meeting to actually pop the video chat out so that you're able to have your full screen in Teams like this, but still have the meeting screen in a different window. So that's one of the things coming out. I did pull up tasks. I was just going to show you here again, web-based. For those of you that use Outlook, I live and die by my tasks. Let me launch Outlook really quick. You can see these are the things that I have due today. If you use a task list inside of Outlook, this crosses over from your Outlook task list to web-based as well. So again, it's synchronizing everything. I'll just bring over a little tiny bit of this view, but you can see that I've got workman. So this carries over. So everything that I need to do on my task list today is also available web-based. That also shows up on my phone because I have the To-Do application, the To-Do app also installed on my phone. So this is the quick and dirty that I had for the overview of how the Office 365 ecosystem ties together. Now I'd like to play Stump the Geek, or we'll go ahead and finish up early. Any questions out there? Really? Nobody's going to play Stump the Geek today? Okay. I hope this was helpful. This is being recorded as well, so this will go up on the main website. Again, a reminder for that is if you go to tlctech.com, click under the tech articles and the webinar training. This is where and then you can click here for our past webinars. This is the upcoming trainings, and then you can click here for the past trainings, and that shows you all of the ones that we've done so far. So yes, actually, Nancy, the archives, that is right here. Again, go to tlctech.com, highlight over the tech articles, go to webinar training. These are all of the upcoming events that we're going to be doing. And then here are the past webinars that have been done. So these are the previous 5 ones that we did. Usually that takes about 4 or 5 days just because my marketing team makes it all fancy, puts it up on YouTube, and then makes information available here. So those are the archives. Any other questions? So my hope is that you learn something new. Again, get in here and play. Just start grabbing buttons like right here. Go to your settings. You can find out you can change your theme. You can change your colors, things like that. Dark mode. I do not understand why anybody turns on dark mode. It makes me insane, but I know a lot of people who do. So if you like dark mode, you can work that way. You can also customize your settings on notifications. I do not like to be notified web-based, so I turn it off. If I had that turned on, Jack, would you go ahead and pop me? That's just going to do on the email. It'll give me sound and everything web-based when it comes on. I don't want the reminder, so I just say turn off the settings. Change the password here, update contact preferences. Again, just kind of dig in and start seeing what you can do in here. There's a lot of power. It links everything over. I can get to all my OneDrives this way. I can get to it from here. It crosses over everything really, really well. Let me see. I close out and the screen changed. Steve, what do you mean you closed out and the screen changed? By the way, Microsoft has gotten much better at playing in the ecosystem with everybody. Is everything that you should be able to do, you should be able to do from any browser whatsoever. I am pretty partial to the new Edge. That's just what I use. I like it quite a bit. One of the other things that you will notice, though, is when I go to you notice that I'm logged in here. When I do a search, I can search, I think I'm logged in for this. I can actually, I'm not signed in, so let me do this. Now that's going to get me into Bing. Sorry, I'll show you this on a later one. But basically, we can tie it together so that if you do a search, it'll actually give you web results, and it'll also give you results from anything inside of your Office 365 ecosystem. Now, that only works with the Microsoft Edge browser, and the bad part is it makes Bing your default search engine, and personally, I just can't. I'm so used to Google, I don't like the Bing interface, so that's the only drawback there. Any other... Steve, you can call me later if you want. Again, you can use any browser. The one thing is Edge is built by Microsoft, so it's built for everything to work just seamlessly. Chrome or one of the others might do an update that might break something that you're used to being able to do inside the browser. I've just gotten, again, the joke is I sold my soul to Microsoft. We're a full Microsoft shop, so I use Edge just because I like the functionality of it. I like how it works. That's a personal opinion. You do not have to use Edge to do this. Chrome will work just fine. Any other questions? Okay, if not, and if you have any questions that come up for you, please feel free to email me. You guys, I think, are probably pretty clear on the concept. I love this stuff. I love showing it off. I love helping people figure out how to use it well. So feel free to email me at any time, and I'll be happy to answer any questions. Thanks for joining. We'll see you in a couple of weeks for the next one, and that there'll be an email coming out within about a little over an hour. Giving you an update on the next one that we're doing. Thank you very much and have a great day. Bye-bye.